This is my signature assessment by me, Macy Mitchell, and I have handed out a packet with all the graphs and charts that will be in this presentation so it is easier for you to look at. There are 4 important types of data a school should look at. The first is demographic data, which tells us the enrollment in the school, the attendance rates, the dropout rates, what kind of ethnicities are within the school, the amount of female or males that are in the school, and the grade levels that are within the school. And over time, this type of data indicates changes in the context of the school. Looking at the data for the ethnicities of Monticello Middle School from the last 2 years tells us that we are a majority of whites and African Americans. This information can allow us as the leaders to know our students and make our school more welcoming to these types of ethnicities. I have also put together our enrollment for the last 3 years compared to the dropout rates. Now I know that most of these dropouts don't occur at the middle school level, but we can see that the dropout rate has increased from the 2016-2017 school year. We can do our best here at the middle school to help foster these students to love to learn and to create a culture that they enjoy learning in. As for enrollment, we have seen an increase over the past 3 years. Moving on to our attendance rates, I have spread it out into more detailed categories so we can focus on the groups that need more attention. We can see that other than the students with disabilities, whites and male students have the lowest attendance rates. We need to discuss what we can do for these specific students. The second important type of data is perceptions data, which includes the perceptions of the learning environment and the values, beliefs, attitudes, and observations of many people. Over time, this type of data can tell us about the environmental improvements in the school. The environment in which the students come into will determine this type of data. So what is our climate and culture really like? Over the past 3 years, no students have been expelled, only 3 weapon incidents which happened 3 years ago. There has been no staff assaults in the past 3 years, but there has been a handful of student assaults. Obviously, this is our main concern, and we will need to discuss what we can do about these numbers. Moving on to the next important type of data, which is student learning data. This type of data includes standardized tests, norm or criterion reference tests, teacher observations of abilities, and formative assessments. And over time, this type of data gives information about student performance on different measures. On the next few slides, I have included the 6th through 8th grade math and literacy ACT Aspire results. I'm going to briefly discuss what they look like, and in a minute we will discuss what we can do as a school to improve these scores even more. For the 6th grade math, a majority of the students are in the close and ready categories. We need to work on improving those scores so that more students are at the exceeding level. For the 7th grade math, a majority fell in the close, ready, and exceeding, which is an improvement from 6th grade. And for 8th grade math, the bars start to even out more across the board, with more students falling in the in need of support in closed categories, which we need to improve. As for 6th grade literacy, over the past 3 years, the exceeding column has decreased and the in need of support has increased. Something has to be done about this for the school to succeed its mission and vision. The 7th grade literacy results look a lot better. More students moved up to close, ready, and exceeding, but we still need to work on that 27% that are in need of support. Lastly, the 8th grade literacy results moved up even more. The in need of support decreased over the last 3 years, and the exceeding columns increased. That is what we are looking for in all areas. The last important type of data is school processes data. This is a description of the school's processes and programs. Over time, this data can show how classrooms change. Here I have listed all the programs that we have to offer based off the ADE website. The only main difference in the last 3 years is that we took away our after-school program. However, we still have many academic programs still in place. We have Gifted and Talented, Beta Club, Facts, and East. However, I believe that we can add a couple more programs to this list to help improve our literacy and math achievement scores. Here are our current mission and vision statements. Our mission states, Monticello Middle School exists to empower all students to become self-sufficient and productive members of the community. Our vision states, Monticello Middle School works collaboratively to establish a culture of high expectations and accountability for all. So are we meeting our current school mission and vision statements? I believe as a school that we are working really hard toward our mission and our vision for our school. As for our mission, we do strongly encourage our students to become more self-sufficient. We push them to do things on their own. We try to help them to become more independent and not rely on us so much. However, I do believe that our middle schoolers struggle with being productive. At this age, they start to get lazy, they start to get less interested in school, and they don't know how to go out into the community and represent us well. As for our vision, our school does have high expectations for our students. We expect that they work really hard, they strive to do good on tests, study at home, and to work really hard to do good on their ACT Aspire. We even have high standards for our staff. We have high standards and expect them to do the right thing, to stay organized as teachers, and to teach our students to the best of their ability. However, we don't hold ourselves accountable as the staff as much as we should, and I believe that transfers over to our students. The set of goals I have come up with to help us implement our vision and mission is first to open up the after-school program again. I believe this helps students get more practice in with whatever they may be struggling with. It helps parents because some or most don't have time to help their children with homework, or they don't even know how to help them. This could be a way to help increase our math and literacy scores. I also think we should consider a before-school program. I believe this could also help the students get more practice in, and it can help the parents who go to work early in the morning because they will have a place to drop off their kids, and they won't have to rely on their kids getting on the bus. I believe that both of these programs could open up many opportunities for students to be able to get extra practice, learn more, have a better relationship with their teachers, and just help them improve their literacy and math scores for the ACT. Also, we should promote parent involvement more. I know I just said some parents struggle with helping their students, but I believe that we could help them with that in some ways. I believe we can send home instructional things on how to complete their homework that they're struggling with or that they don't know how to do, or we could even post things online for the parents to have access to. That way they will have some kind of information to be able to help their students. And this can help them be involved more, and it would help the students because they are getting extra help, which could also help improve their math and literacy scores. Another idea, I think our school needs to also relook at our culture and climate in our school. We need to work on building a positive and healthy culture and climate that our students want to be in while they learn. Lastly, we need to do a better job at keeping everyone, staff and students, accountable for their work. Discussing the role of the school community, the first is that everyone has to have a shared vision and a shared mission. Without that, everyone is going to be going in different directions, they're going to be working toward different goals, and they won't care whether they are doing what's helping or what's hindering their own school and their own students. So they need to share the same mission and vision. Second, I think everyone should be working toward the same mission and vision. So if the school is making changes, we have to make sure that everyone knows and make sure that everyone agrees with it. When everyone agrees with the mission, the vision, the goals, the processes, and the programs that may be being implemented, then the students will be right there with them, moving forward and making those changes with us. Another thing is the school community could work on for the students is collecting more resources for them. If we could have people donate, whether it be laptops, iPads, or anything that will promote the students' learning, and that could help promote and improve their math and literacy results. With the more resources they have, the better opportunities they have to learn. And especially in a lower income community like Monticello, these resources could be a turning point in these students' learning. Now discussing the steps I think we need to do to improve our school culture. First, we should check everyone's attitude, whether that be staff, parents, students, and even our community. Any negative attitude can tear down a school and the students' learning. But if we encourage a positive attitude, that could make the school a place where the students want to be. Second, I think we should survey what the culture or our personality of the school is. If we send out a survey for the staff, the parents, the students, and the community to complete, we can see what everyone thinks about our school. By doing that, we can see what improvements we need to make based off the results. So once we see those results, we can see what specific changes or areas where people are concerned with and make those changes in our school to have a more positive and healthy culture for our staff, but mainly for our students and their learning environment. With all that being said, the goal is to create an environment where everyone shares the mission and vision, and we are creating lifelong learners for our students. Doing all of this will maximize all of our students' potential on their math and literacy achievement scores. The activities and programs that I would recommend for our school to start implementing so that our students can get more practice, they could have a better learning environment, and they would have a better opportunity to increase their literacy and their math achievement scores. The first recommendation I would have, like I mentioned earlier, is to start either the before school or the after school program, or if possible, try starting both. But with that comes a lot of practice, a lot of communication, a lot of involvement with the teachers. So if we can make that happen, that would be my first recommendation so that the students can get the help they need. They can get more practice and more time with the teachers one-on-one, to have that more available and possible to them so that we can raise those math and literacy scores. My second recommendation would be to use that time, if we can, or if not, to use other time to reach students that need specific RTI, reaching those students who are in need of support, and use the extra help to improve their scores during those time of interventions. Lastly, I would recommend that administrators communicate with teachers more. The teachers know the students more than the administrators do. They know what processes and programs are working and which ones aren't working, but the administrators have to listen to them. Sometimes the teachers don't want to speak up because they feel like they won't be listened to, or they might think that their ideas are dumb, or they don't think they're telling the truth. So even if it's done anonymously, there still needs to be communication on what programs are working and which ones are not, and I believe that the teachers have the most knowledge about what's going on with the students and can give the best information about it. So if those activities and programs were to be implemented, there would be some different types of professional development that would be needed to take place. So first, if we do decide to open up the before and after school programs, the staff would need professional development to review or to go over all that that would encompass. Some teachers may have done it before and they know all what it does, or you may have staff that have never done the before and after school program, so they would need to know everything that they would need to do as a teacher to make it work the best way. During that professional development, they could decide who would be over it, who would be willing to be involved with it, or even create a rotation schedule if multiple teachers wanted to be involved or volunteered to be involved with it. Second, there would also need to be professional development over the RTI. Some teachers have worked with students in interventions, but not all, so the professional development will allow all teachers to know how interventions work and the response to them and the best way to go about it with the specific students they would be working with. And lastly, as for communicating with teachers, the only professional development that would be needed is if a new technology was being used to communicate with the teachers. That professional development could teach the new program. I mean, that could be an hour lunch break for all the teachers to review over that new technology. But if the school uses something that everyone is familiar with already, then professional development would not be necessary for that. Thank you for giving me your time, and I hope you can take these goals, activities, and programs that I suggested into consideration for the next school year.